Good morning everybody and welcome to a very cold morning here in Kilcreggan. Coming up in this week's video. So today we're going to talk about the pros and cons of the Osmo Pocket 3. I've been using it now for 3 months and I've got a fairly good understanding of how the different modes work, about the shutter speeds, I've got the ND filters. So here are the things that I think are worth mentioning about the Osmo Pocket 3, and if you're still on the fence about buying one, hopefully this will answer that for you. So pro number one has to be the quality of the image that comes out the camera. I have been blown away by it, whether it be in 4K, 1080p for some of the motion lapses, but overall the footage is just crazy good. It's very bright this morning. It was -13 in parts of Scotland last night, so I've had to use an ND filter to try and slow my shutter speed down, and hopefully that's looking okay. Some people have the perception that an Osmo Pocket 3 is just a toy. It's not a professional camera, and it's only for people who want to make vlogs, who don't take things very seriously, and it's not really something to put in your toolkit should you be trying to take things to the next level. I have to entirely disagree with anyone that thinks that. Yeah, I've got my Canon R5, it shoots spectacular footage up to 8K, but when you consider the fact that I could have bought 10 Osmo Pocket 3s for the price that I paid for my Canon R5, then it really does become a no-brainer. It also leads me on to what my first drawback is of it, and that's the DJI conversion LUT. So we'll talk about that. The first thing that I noticed that I wasn't overly happy about was when I converted the D-Log footage using the DJI conversion LUT. It obviously converts it to Rec 709, but it seems to be a bit heavy-handed in it. The first few times that I did it, the amount of saturation in the colours was just over the top. I had to spend quite a bit of time colour correcting the footage. What I did find when I did the test in the video from last week, which I'll link somewhere at the end of the video, when I shot in normal colour profile, it was much easier to deal with that footage and apply the LUTs that I use. I use a lot of movie look LUTs from Motion VFX, and they tend to deal with the footage a little more subtly than when you just slap the conversion LUT on it. So a quick disclaimer, that entirely could be user error. I did follow all the steps. I've just downloaded the LUT from the DJI website and I use a custom LUT filter onto the footage and then apply the Osmo LUT, and that's where the problems start to begin. You can dial it back a bit if you find it to be too heavy-handed, as I've mentioned, but I still feel that the overall look that I end up with isn't as pleasing as it could be. Awesome point number two has to be the portability and flexibility. I know I've mentioned that several times before, however, you can't do some sort of review after 3 months and not talk about how easy it is to use, how easy it is to set up. If you've went for the creator combo, which I thoroughly recommend you do if you can afford it, this little microphone thing here is the best part about that. All I have to do, click it in, switch it on, it automatically connects to the camera. I've got my audio settings where I quite like them now, and it just makes that whole process seamless. I had the previous DJI mic set up, which I really loved. That was a little battery case with the transmitter and the 2 microphones, and I still use that when I use my Canon R5, but that's still a bit of a faff because I need to put the transmitter on the camera, I need to run a lead from that into the camera, and then I need to set up my microphone, wait for them to connect. It's just another couple of steps that you don't need to do when you're using the creator combo on the Pocket 3. So without a shadow of a doubt, one of the key benefits to this is the portability, flexibility, and the ease of use. What about drawback number 3? No, 2. Let's go on with drawback number 2. The second drawback is very minor. It's basically that if you want to use the slow motion mode, you have to swipe into a different menu. and you have to select your settings there. Now it's not a huge deal breaker, but it's an extra couple of steps that might make you miss a shot that you're trying to get. For me, a future firmware update would be useful if we could keep all of those shooting modes in a more organised position and potentially in the one place. Small drawback, but it's worth mentioning. So the third thing I really love about the Pocket 3, and it's the big kid in me that loves it, it's the motion lapse, the hyperlapse and the time lapse. They're just super fun to use, and the better you get with them, the better the results you can get. I used to set it up over 10 minutes with a 2-second interval between shots, and whilst I was really happy with them, I thought I would try and push it a little bit further. The motion lapse that you're watching just now took 1 hour to shoot. There's 4 seconds in between each frame, and it gives a much greater sense of the time passing. You capture much more movement in the clouds. You can see the sun coming down. It's just breathtaking. I shot that in 4K. Again, going back to what I'd said in one of my previous cons, all of my previous motion lapse I'd set at 1080p because I didn't realise that when I moved from the video function to the hyperlapse function, you need to reset your settings. So I'm hoping that this one looks good. 4K, it's a little bit dark. I did have an ND filter on because I was shooting straight into the sun, but I still really like the results. So yeah, if you haven't used them yet, use the motion lapse. They're a blast. So the third drawback for me would have to be the digital zoom. I personally don't see the need for it. It zooms in ×2, ×3, I'll put it here, whatever it is. But basically all it's doing is cropping in the image at that point. So for me that seems like a waste of time because you may as well shoot in the wider profile, take it back to your editing software and then make an artistic decision on whether you want to zoom in a little bit on that, crop in on that. You'll still lose the pixels, but you'll have more control. I don't think this is anything that can be fixed in a firmware update, but perhaps the Osmo Pocket 4 will have the capabilities of putting an optical zoom in there, like we're starting to see in the iPhones 15s, 14s, because it really does make a difference and keeps the quality nice and high. So, a note for the Osmo Pocket 4 or the Osmo Pocket 3 Pro, who knows? So the final thing that I want to talk about, which really blows my mind, is how well the Pocket 3 handles low light and high dynamic range. I'm currently standing in the ferry terminal at Kilcreggan. It's very dim and dark in here, although you can see my face clearly. And not only that, there is strong sunlight streaming in the windows behind me. The camera handles the footage like a champ, and when you take it back to your editing software, it's very, very easy to deal with. It's a phenomenal result, and for me, it's one of the best things about the camera. Well done, DJI. Outstanding result. For more information on the Osmo Pocket 3, I suggest you watch this video here. It gives you a lot more tips and a lot more of my opinions of it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you very soon. Join me next week for the next video. Bye.